Deshaun Watson had an amazing year. Every time I watched the Houston Texans, I said the same exact thing. I said that's an amazing quarterback with no support. He was making great decisions. He was highly accurate. We watched the team around him kind of crumble, where there was no running game. There was really disappointing receivers. There was a bad offensive line. There was a horrible defense. And the team around Deshaun Watson was a mess. And I kept talking about how Deshaun Watson, in the midst of a crisis and a horrible mess, was playing very, very well and just taking care of everything he could control and doing a good job. Meanwhile, another quarterback in Philadelphia, Carson Wentz, who had a mess around him, crumbled and fell apart, and he couldn't, make good decisions, and he couldn't control everything he could control. And we saw Carson Wentz devolve and fall apart, and in the midst of a crisis and a mess, Deshaun Watson stayed exactly where he was and played very, very well and very good football. And the Texans went 4-12. They had a horrible year. Horrible team, horrible year. Yet Deshaun Watson had MVP-level numbers. I'm not a huge numbers guy, but the numbers do support everything I've been saying all year. And here's a little bit of what Deshaun Watson did this year. I'm going to share some statistics with you because I know that I can say, he made good decisions and he was great and this and that, but some people only listen to statistics. So here, for those people, he led the NFL in passing yards. He had 4,823 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He was third in the NFL in completion percentage. He was number 1 in yards per pass attempt. He was number 2 in passer rating. And those numbers back up what I've been saying about Deshaun Watson all year, which is that he's a really, really phenomenal quarterback on a horrendous, awful football team. And Deshaun Watson put up MVP-level numbers during a 4-12 season. And nobody talks about it. He's not going to get a single MVP vote. And first of all, I feel kind of bad for Deshaun Watson because he's in a terrible position. But also, I wondered, what's the lesson here? As we watch Deshaun Watson, he had a phenomenal year. What's the lesson, the takeaway from all this? And the takeaway for me is that the team around your superstar quarterback matters a ton. You need a good team. I personally look at Patrick Mahomes a lot differently now than I used to. I've always been enamored and amazed, oh my gosh, Patrick Mahomes is so good and so amazing. And even this year, I really gained respect for Patrick Mahomes. I think he does some incredible stuff. But so does Deshaun Watson. And what's the difference between Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes? They might be, maybe Patrick Mahomes is slightly better, but the difference is Patrick Mahomes has help. He's got a great coach, great players around him, just talent all around Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson's got nothing. And so I kind of asked the question, what if Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson switched to teams? What would happen there if they traded positions? We might be talking about how Deshaun Watson is the greatest person we've ever seen. He's so amazing, and he's winning Super Bowls. Meanwhile, we wouldn't see... Again, think of how many times you've seen Patrick Mahomes in a commercial. Yeah, he's an amazing quarterback, but part of that is because he's got a great team around him. If Deshaun Watson were the quarterback of the Houston Texans, working with Andy Reid and making great decisions, playing at a high level, and doing it, throwing to the receivers he's got in Kansas City, man, I think we'd be seeing Deshaun Watson in a lot of those State Farm commercials and this and that and ketchup and headphones and everything, right? So my takeaway, the lesson from the 2020 season Deshaun Watson had is that you can have an amazing quarterback. You still need a good team around the guy. And Deshaun Watson's an amazing quarterback with nothing around him, no help. And so we like to give a lot of credit to the quarterback and all this and that, but more credit needs to be given to the receivers and the coach and an offensive line and the running back. Other people need credit beyond the quarterback. And so I stand by, you can have a great quarterback. That great quarterback is going to need a lot of help as well. That's a big lesson you can learn from Deshaun Watson in 2020.